Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com. Conservative media done right. And I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. And tonight we got a special guest. Can anybody guess who it is? Anybody? Bueller? BZ. Hi.
Might help if I turned on the mic. Hi, Mom. Well, that's kind of stupid. My mom died in 2002, so...
Yeah, but still, to all the mothers out there, happy belated Mother's Day.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan on Mother's Day. Mom kind of thumped me a lot, so at her funeral, actually, I didn't say anything.
Well,
but that's a story for some time other than today. And you could right now, folks, if you want to label that, go ahead, TMI.
Yes, just like when I went up to my mother yesterday and I was like, Happy Mother's Day, Mother. And remember, it's only half the word. Think about it.
Did you really say that to your mother?
Yeah. She laughed. She looked at me and she goes, wait a minute, motherfucker? I was like, yep. She laughed. She knew it was a joke.
Do you kiss your mother with that brain?
Yes.
Damn, mister.
Or lack of. Who do you think gave it to me?
It wasn't equal parts mom and equal parts dad?
No, this was more my mother. My dad was more the quiet type. My mom's more the boisterous.
Well,
raised on a farm with, what was it, 5 brothers?
Oh, and don't forget Chihuahua, the anaconda. I don't know why did you guys name an anaconda Chihuahua? I don't get that part. You said that to me one day, but I don't get it.
I'm not sure. But all right, let's get on to the show. And where do we want to start first? There's so much to go over. There's a lot of good news. There's the same bullshit from the Democrats, the same whining and crying. Republicans, I haven't read it yet, but from what I'm seeing, there's a new a bill they're getting ready to put out, and it's going to remove some people from Medicaid. And the Democrats are freaking the fuck out. And my question for them is one thing. Number one, who's getting kicked off Medicaid? Illegal aliens. Number 2.
That's it?
Pretty much. I mean, there's some waste and fraud going to get cut out of it. And number 2, the Democrats didn't care about people getting kicked off health care when they passed Obamacare. How many millions of people lost their health care and still to this day cannot afford health care because of that monstrosity piece of shit bill that they pushed through in the middle of the night with nobody knowing what was in it? Nobody gave a shit then. Democrats didn't give a shit about people getting kicked off, did they?
Okay, I found it.
What do you do? Look for the bill?
Yeah, I was looking for the story about it.
I was going to read more later on tonight. I mean, I just started seeing a bunch of stuff right before coming on air. These Democrats, oh my God, they're killing Medicaid. They're kicking people off, and 8.3 and 12 million. I've seen some from 8.3 to 22 million to 12.3 million. The numbers are all over the place. They can't even agree on a number. But to me, how can that party sit there and bitch about it? How many millions of people lost health care over Obamacare?
Come on, what the hell is wrong with you? Didn't you know that if you want, you can keep your doctor? I wish you'd get in line, mister.
Real quick, because we just noticed we have the Phantom in the chat room. We have Sackhead Sean showed up finally, a little late. Better late than never, I say. But if you want to be part of the conversation and join in, and whether you like us, hate us, want us fired, want us to get raised, want to tell us to kiss off, go to YouTube and look up SHR Media and jump in the chat room. Join the conversation. But
matter of fact, I happen to be in the chat room. Now I'm looking up at 2 windows here because I'm looking at the place where I jump in to be on your show, and then I I have to look next door over here. And if I can copy and paste for those of you, oh, I can't do it here. Okay, I got to do it over here. For those of you who want to be in the chat, let me put it here. Here is the chat that you can go to on YouTube if you want to jump here and chat. And I found the story. I found the story that you're talking about.
You know, you just put the link to YouTube chat and YouTube chat.
Right. Because if the people in, I can't put it in yours.
Right. But if they're in the
but if there's, see, okay, maybe I need to explain myself a little bit more completely.
All right, maybe I'm missing.
No, I need to explain. There are certain personnel not of this earth that don't understand a lot about our culture. And I think I've said this before on my show. I am very good friends with the aliens on the planet Zephyron, quite some distance away. And they, who may not be watching this right now, if they're going up on chat, on YouTube chat, they can copy that, paste it onto whatever they use to paste with, and they can jump into the chat room. Now, I have to be honest, I haven't seen anyone from Zephyron jump into our chat, but usually I try to at least make the offering out there to them. By the way, the people on the people on Zephyron make wicked good brownies. Wicked good.
Anything special put in them? How you doing, Big Earl? Thank you for being here tonight.
Brownie stuff.
For a second, Sean and Big Earl, there is a link in our chat on Twitter. If you guys want to jump in, jump on in.
Brownie
if you don't, I understand.
Brownie stuff. See, look. Do you see the hat? Now, tiaras are usually by My Little Pony, but I want to let everybody know. Now, this is from the movie. You can see the hat. The good and kind people of Zephyron gave me this hat, 180-286. They were there at the time. In the future, when the Nostromo was still cruising around. That's the USCS Nostromo, United States Cargo Starship. Okay, in case you guys didn't know what that meant. Jeez, Phantom says, I just see BZ so close to his feet. There's the hat. That was free. That was free by the people of Zephyron. I'm looking at this bill that you were talking about.
Oh, can I see? I'm sorry to interrupt you, BZ. I really am, but I wanted to.
Why are you doing it? I don't understand. If you're sorry, then you could not be sorry by not doing it.
I know, but if I don't ask you this, I'm going to forget.
Okay.
My daughter had a request. She wanted to know, when are you going to do another paranormal special?
Okay.
She's kind of looking forward to that.
Okay. This just in from the big heavy head. I will have a show tomorrow night, and then I'm having a show Thursday night. I will probably have a brief show next Tuesday night, and then next Thursday night and next Tuesday night after that, because I am going where? Let me tell you. Thanks, Jersey Joe, for asking about that. That's why I love you.
Do this?
That is why I love you, man. You're my brother, man. I love you, man. I am going to Colorado. I am going to Broomfield, Colorado. BZ, what's in Broomfield, Colorado? That seems rather secretive. It is a Bigfoot conference in Broomfield, Colorado. I will be gone for 5 or 6 days, so that's why there will probably be 2 shows that I will not be able to do. Or if I can somehow figure it out how to do whatever from StreamYard. But the reason I'm going there is because it is feted by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Now, in the land of the Bigfoot and hominids, Dr. Jeff Meldrum happens to be essentially the ne plus ultra, the guy in terms of hominids, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, all that sort of thing. He probably has in his collection 70, 100 castings of various things that people are saying that they believe are Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Now, he is an anthropologist. He is a professor of anthropology at Boise State, Idaho University. And he has been investigating this for decades. And he's still not considered a whack job or a nutter. He has never particularly stated precisely that he believes that Bigfoot Sasquatch exists. What he does say is that there is an historical bent to the potential, the possibility of a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, and he has the film, the evidence, the castings, obviously, to indicate that he believes there may be a hominid type of that nature somewhere in the United States of America, but he isn't specifically willing yet to put his finger on and say, I believe in Bigfoot. And he doesn't go to some of the other places that
Right. And that's sort of where
people
I'm at.
go that say, oh, well, like Bigfoot is three-dimensional, man, and he'll pop in and then he'll pop out
disappear
and he can travel interdimension.
See, I look at it.
He can get in your head, man.
Is there a possibility that there can be a creature of that size that we have not seen or discovered yet? Yes. Silverback gorillas weren't found until what, the mid 1950s. Before that, scientists screamed up and down it's impossibility for them to exist. It's a myth. It's a myth. We have fish that are supposed to have been extinct for 10, 20 million years now that
The
were
coelacanth.
water. Yeah,
The coelacanth came back just for you.
But there's no reason why there can't be a branch. And yes, there could still be monkeys, because I'm not saying the monkeys, are the ones that became Bigfoot. There could be the monkeys branch this way, another branch this way, we branch this way. There's so many questions that can be done to say that definitively that there's no creature. You can't say that.
People allege that in terms of that, I hit every branch on the way down to the ground, hence a face made for radio. And people also indicate that it's a myth. And to which I say, oh, myth, can you refill my vodka, please?
Well,
and
how can
I don't get any refills.
How can you say, not you, but they say it's a myth when you have people from different continents that were not in communication with each other thousands of years ago giving the exact same description of a creature? But that's for another show.
It could be, but the guy that I usually have on the show to talk about that sort of thing, I'll have either one of two gentlemen, will generally be Alan Thomas, or I will have Nate Rudd on. And Alan Thomas has seen them. He goes hunting for them. He has sounds recorded of them. And Nate Rudd has witnessed them. And I've had a filmmaker on my show called Edward Monge. And Edward Monge has interviewed any number of people who have personally witnessed a Sasquatch / Bigfoot type creature. Nate Rudd was one of them. And he was on Edward Monge's documentary. So I've had Nate Rudd on the air, and Alan Thomas, and Edward Monge, who is a really cool cat. But I will have them back on. Edward Monge is taking a little bit of a break.
That's good.
Dude is, and I get where he's coming from. He is a filmmaker. He's an actual filmmaker who produces actual quality product. He's been to film school. He's been to LA. He's been to any number of various schools. And in the process of attempting to promote a lot of his material on particularly Facebook, he's at the point right now, I spoke to him not long ago, where he said, right now, I believe I am done with social media. I'm done with the people that are criticizing me. I'm done with the people who don't believe. So instead of just staying out, they have to throw in against me, S words, Edward is not the cat that you and I are. I've been insulted by professionals out on the street, shot at, blah, blah, blah. And the people that criticize me are not professionals. So that kind of stupid shit just runs off my back like water off a duck. And I predominantly don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Edward, who's trying to do really well for himself and has an actual creative spine and a great bone in his body, he's trying to be in a new environment where it's just not rancid acidity 24/7. And I get it. So he's going to another film school. He's going to get a few other jobs because his true love is filmmaking. And he wants to go out, go to another school, get some extra jobs, make some coin, get to a point where he feels fairly well coinaged, to coin a term, and come back and begin to create more movies and documentaries. So to him, God bless him for that. I understand his disinterest in social media right now.
I can understand it gets.
So that was a long way around to say yes. Yes.
Okay. Now let's get back to what we're talking about, this bill that the Republicans are putting forth, the big, beautiful bill, that the Democrats are, of course, shitting their pants over. Oh my God, everybody's going to get kicked off of all their health care and Medicaid and Medicare, and it's going to be cats and dogs getting along. I'm tired of the boy that cried wolf, or if you want to say the sky is falling, Chicken Little bullshit from the Democrats. It's tiresome. I've been hearing for decades that Republicans are going to do away with Social Security and Medicaid. But guess what?
No, they're
here.
The way I'm looking at it, if I'm reading this appropriately, I'm looking over on another screen over here, is they're doing what the Democrats don't want. We made so many amazing discoveries under Doge, under USAID, any number of discoveries. The corrupt, divisive nature, the fraud, the abuse of Social Security, well, it's everywhere. It's in Medicaid too. Yep. So I'm looking at this over here. This is from NBC News. And even NBC News admits the bill would make a slew of Medicaid spending reductions through policies such as stricter eligibility verification. Now, when you hear that, what's one of the first things that pops off in your brain?
Fraud.
Yeah. Citizenship checks.
Well, yes. Sorry.
That is where everybody on the left, the Democrats, go 210 over 190, because part of citizenship checks is wrapped in the eligibility verification. So why shouldn't you be verified? It should simply be assumptive now that the Democrats, having shat in our country, I don't believe it's 10 million illegals that are here.
No, I don't
believe that it's 20 million illegals here. I believe that it's closer to 30 million illegals that are here in a country with a population of roughly 340 million. That's a massive percentile of individuals that we should be vetting because of the information we've recently discovered and unearthed from most every government program. Tougher screenings on providers who get reimbursements. Yeah, hello, fraud. And federal Medicaid funding cuts to state. Did I just say the word cunt? Sorry, rewind the tape. I didn't say cunt. For the people, just rewind it. When I was trying to say Medicaid cuts, I said Medicaid cunts, and I didn't mean that. So make sure when you go back, chop this out, okay? I don't want to be heard to say anything about Medicaid cunts. There could be some. I'm not saying there aren't some, but if you would, just go back and edit that out. Federal Medicaid funding cuts, that's what I meant to say, cuts to states that offer coverage to residents living in the U.S. illegally. Now, unless you're a leftist or a Democrat or a globalist, what part of that would you object to? That, to me, is called reasonable checks and balances to make sure that your hard-earned American taxpayer dollars aren't being pissed away to people that are not due anything close to that. That, I'm guessing, looking over here, is what everyone is freaking the hell out about.
Well, you see, if we don't have that free stuff, we're not going to have the invasion that's been going on. We're not giving away free money, free healthcare, free housing. They're not going to want to be here because they have no way of living. There's no reason for them to be here. So, of course, these Democrats want to keep the fraud going on and waste. It's sickening.
I should also like to point this out. Now, Mission Ready Men is in chat in the SHR Media YouTube chat channel. And Mission Ready Men, that is Earl Big E Jackson, and he's one of the SHR Media hosts that we have here. There are 4. Big E at this point lives in Texas. Texas, of course, being a border state. So in the chat, Big E has said their number has been 11 million for decades. Yeah, I'm guessing it's between 40 and 50 million.
Yeah.
That's a massive amount of individuals
they don't want the true number
are paying for.
If we knew the true number of how many illegals were here, they would lose all their votes.
Well,
99% of the votes. There's still going to be that 1% of idiots that, it's a good thing to have illegals in here.
We will never discover the true depth and breadth and extent to which this beloved country, our United States of America, has been fucked over for decades by the leftists and Democrats. The reason that they want, I used to say it was something similar to illegals are wanted in the United States because they give Republicans cheap labor. True, to a degree. And the leftists and Democrats want them because they want the voters. But it truly goes a lot deeper than that. Because if you recall, prior to the 2020 census, there was a huge push on behalf of the Democrats to make sure that, we need to count everyone in a home, whether they're illegal or not. We just need to know. Well, folks, you do know why that's important, right?
Because it adds Congress personnel, or it is House members.
Yes. How do
electoral votes?
How is it that the number of representatives in Congress is determined? Now, California, I'll spell it with a K, actually lost a seat in the House by dint of the fact that its population went down. It may still be going down. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's reached stasis at this point. Not absolutely certain.
Not according to Newsom. We've had record amounts for 2 years of people moving to California.
Yeah, illegal immigration. Yeah. But you get your apportionment, how many people in a district, according to population. So if your population goes up in a given area, then those numbers are used in redistricting. Redistricting is going to occur as well. Gerrymandering, jiggering around the numbers, that sort of thing. So, that's additional illegal invaders are great for Democrats.
Now,
it creates new House positions.
Now, the one that made me kind of chuckle today is, I'm gonna where'd it go? Let me bring it up. Tweet from Congresswoman Hirano, I believe her name is.
Oh God, Mazie Hirano from Hawaii.
Yes,
that's a bint.
They're now worried about the cost of deporting all these illegals. Now they're worried about the cost of the $21 million. Jesus. And for me, it's, if you are so worried about the cost, you would have shut the border down. you would not have caused this problem. The Democrats caused this invasion. They caused this influx of illegal immigrants. And we now have a president finally with the balls that is fixing the problem, and she's going to cry about the cost. It's been devastating this country economically, lower wages, a strain on our welfare system, a strain on our legal system, our health care. And now she wants to worry about the cost using our military to deport these people. Get bent, woman.
See, that's easy to say when you're on an island or an island chain and you're 1,000 miles away from CONUS. And you can say that, but the interesting portion of all of this is nothing really began to change until, and correct me if I'm wrong, and people who want to get in chat, nothing really began to change until everyone started to share the misery. And what I mean by that is states like California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, they were expected simply to take it up on the chin and up the ass from illegal invaders. They were told to sit up, shut up, sit down, and just take it. And you're supposed to. You don't have any control over your borders. And if it bankrupts your state and a good portion of your medical system or your educational system, no one cares, because all the rest of the people that are in the Northeast that have the luxury of that are not being broken. And she's not being broken by these people. It's an island. And it's way too damn expensive to get to Hawaii. And it's way too damn expensive to live there. So that having been said, one of the biggest things that I believe was responsible for breaking the back of the Northeast and basically a whole bunch of leftist urban rat cages was the fact that Texas Governor Greg Abbott sent a number of buses and flights to various locales. Eric Adams, New York City, let's see, Johnson's, Chicago, and only and when they were personally impacted fiscally in terms of infrastructure, education, support, food, supplies, shelter, only when they were personally affected by the same shit that the border states, how they were affected for multiple decades, only then did Democrats begin to give a shit.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, Mayor Johnson in Chicago, who's a wonderful chocolate man, has also said, I'm sorry, that was New Orleans. I can't forget that idiot mayor's, or I do forget that idiot mayor.
No way speaking, I'm going to put up a number for Florida for the health cost by illegals.
Oh, okay. Let's see that.
$660 million it's cost the Florida taxpayers due to illegal immigrants with health care.
But see, as far as leftists and Democrats are concerned, they couldn't care less about Florida because it's not a blue state.
Exactly.
So it mock sneaks to them. Doesn't matter at all. But the people that were the most vociferous recently, at least within the past 6 months to almost a year, is when Mayor Johnson decided that he was going to favor illegal immigrants over the black residents that are in the city of Chicago. And the tete-a-tete and contretemps that occurred in various mayoral and city council meetings when those people began to acquire a voice. And that goes, as far as I'm concerned, to replacement theory. And replacement theory is not a theory. It's replacement reality.
Yeah.
Oh, BZ, you racist for saying that. Yeah, I'm talking about actual Americans. You know, the black citizens that I was talking about in Chicago, they're actual Americans. Johnson is in the process of attempting to replace you too. Don't think you're extra special, because you're not.
With that, we're going to have to take a break, and
Let's take a
when we come back, we're going to change up subjects to one that's, well, I'm getting tired of the two-tiered justice system in this country.
Oh, why lie? You lie so much. How sad.
I
Why do
know.
people listen to your show for these lies?
Right after this commercial, we'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ever dream of escaping the daily grind? At Escapist Travel and Tours, we make those dreams your reality. From breathtaking adventures to cultural immersions, we offer escapes tailored just for you. Let us take you to places where every moment feels like a new chapter in your life's adventure. Visit www.escapist.travel or call us today at 1-855-885-81776. Your escape awaits.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
What is the Edge of Liberty? News, politics, commentary, sarcasm, alcohol, and high blood pressure. It's as American as a good revolution. So tune in every Monday and Friday at 12 Pacific, 3 p.m. on the East Coast on the SHR Media Network and KLRN Radio. For details, visit www.shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Reaver Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe. I'm just floored by what's been going on over this past weekend. And we got a very special guest tonight. We got the great BZ. He is here. And we're changing up subjects. And everybody saw, what was it, Friday? The insurrection riot at a ICE detention center by the Democrat Party. Now, everybody's seen that video. I'm not going to play that video, but what I am going to put up is a congresswoman threatening federal law enforcement. That I don't know how she hasn't been arrested already, because if I made any threat towards federal law enforcement, I'd be in jail faster than you could say in jail. So let me put this video up, and it's, I know, everybody's favorite.
AOC, right?
Yes. I forgot to share it on screen.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for us all. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem. Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined in the law that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access, legally required to be granted access. And they legally cannot be inhibited from accessing these facilities to conduct their constitutional obligation to investigate and conduct oversight. So if Kristi Noem wants to break the law, that's on her. But it sure as hell is not someone like Representative Robert Menendez that needs to be arrested. Okay? Now
I've done a little bit of reading over the weekend. Who was arrested? Which person was arrested?
Well, let's see. It would be the mayor of Newark who was trying to get propaganda and great video clips assembled for his run for New Jersey governor.
You said the keyword mayor.
Yes, mayor of Newark.
Is he Congress?
Running for
governor of New Jersey.
Yes.
But is he Congress?
He is not.
Oh, so he doesn't have a right to be in there, according to AOC. He was the one that was arrested.
Well,
now the threats have been leveled against Congresswoman, two of them, and I looked through the Constitution and laws, and I don't see where it is the job of Congress to assault federal law enforcement.
Well, that's like saying that you can't arrest a Congress critter is like saying you can't arrest a judge. And the funny thing is, since you're talking about Menendez and his wife, Demarat, who were already arrested for fraud and corruption. The other thing I'd like to mention is this. AOC, I call her just now because I just thought of this. She's nothing but a bad shoulder pimple. And that's all her face is, essentially. Does anyone, certainly not her, remember when Senator Ted Cruz was turned away from a detention facility when he wanted to go inside and look at the conditions of the facility and see the conditions of the people that were there within? Now, it wasn't under this administration. It was under a prior administration, but he was abjectly refused. That's okay to refuse him.
But she also had to show the law.
Refuse these people.
She didn't quote part of the law that says that they have to obey orders given by ICE and those facilities and must maintain and not obstruct. They're not allowed to obstruct. They're not able to do any of that. But it comes down to a mayor snuck in, was asked to leave multiple times, and didn't leave until he was going to get arrested. Then he ran with his tail between his legs and hid. And then we have members of Congress assaulting federal law enforcement because there was people on January 6th that were getting battered around and pushed back, not knowing who they were pushing back in defense and who it ended up being federal law enforcement. So what did they get charged with? Assault on a federal law enforcement. You cannot put your hands on law enforcement. Whether you're right, wrong, or indifferent, you don't put your hands on law enforcement. It's never going to end well. But for AOC to make those threats, that is beyond the line.
But see, it was okay for little Chucky Schumer to threaten SCOTUS.
Yep.
That was fine because
Democrats can do it.
Exactly.
And it's getting tiresome. with the rhetoric, because they're out there pushing a narrative that's false. They keep pushing Congress is allowed in there. The fucking mayor of that shithole Newark, and I can say that because I'm from New Jersey, not Newark. No, Newark's a piece of shit city.
Well, any place in New Jersey.
There's still some nice spots, some farm areas, but I digress on that. But he did not have a right to be in there, period. End of story. He didn't listen. He was asked to leave, and he didn't. Mendez was out there trying to find his father and his mother now, because both of them are locked up.
They certainly are. See, a responsible, civilized individual would go, hello, ICE facility in New York. We'd like to make an inspection. How about, May 9th? Would that be okay for you? That's not good for us. How about May 10th? Sure, that's fine. Come on in and take a peek.
From one of the things I heard, there was a visit being done, and it was a scheduled visit. Now, I could be wrong on the information that I was given, but there was no issue with the congresswomen men and women that were there. It was the mayor that snuck in and was told to leave. That's where everything went to shit. And then everybody decided, they're going to start protesting outside. And when a van pulled up, they all rushed in. Well, you're trespassing on federal property.
Yeah, that's true. But civilized people do it in that fashion. The point was not to be civilized. The point was to make sure that they make a point and that they get good video, because that's how you score with your peeps on the left-hand side these days.
I had to change it up just a little bit. I'm not going to totally get into it. You got Representative Dan Goldman now that is going after Pam Bondi about it's been 74 days and she hasn't released the full Epstein files. Well, I seem to remember people stonewalling her, lawsuits, and also you had FBI agents that were blocking release of the files that didn't turn them all over. It seems like there's some obstruction going on by Democrats, and then they get that hasn't been released. Look at Donald Trump hasn't passed that many bills this year. Why? Because the Democrats are stonewalling everything and lawsuits on everything. So yes, things aren't getting done that fast because the party of obstructing is obstructing. The party that wants to destroy this country is trying to destroy this country.
One of the things I asked on a show last week was in Spanish to those who, I guess it's 111, maybe 112 days so far since January 20th. And for those who insist that the Epstein files be released immediately, calmate, okay? I just caution, calmate. It's only been a short period of time, and Bondi herself came out with I'm going to paraphrase here, Senator. There are literally tens of thousands of videos that we have to go through. Multiple victims, multiple people to interview. One of the victims committed suicide, suicide. So there are already people attempting to get at as many of these victims who could testify negatively against the bulk of these people. And my guess is that so many of the individuals of interest are big names on any and every venue you could possibly think of.
Yep.
Law enforcement, judges, politicians, people that are celebrities, people from this country, people from other countries. Just hold your hats.
Yep.
Let's see where this goes. There are a finite number of people, and what you have to do with finite resources is make sure that you prioritize things.
Yep.
You have to triage, just like you did when you were an emergency responder and a paramedic. You have to triage the worst and figure out, okay, who gets attention first, second, third, and so on.
Well, I also have a point of, because I'm tired of hearing on the Republican side, I want to see people purple. I want to see arrest. If things happen that fast, that wouldn't be justice. That's revenge. Justice takes time. They got to build cases. They got to get evidence, and they got to get facts. If they're just throwing shit together real quick, that's not what I want. I want to see justice. Well, it takes a little bit to happen. I'm willing to be a little patient.
It's not retribution. It's not revenge. It's simply using the same statutes and USC sections against the people that have committed crimes. And then you make an arrest, create a case, ship them over to court, and we'll see what happens.
Right. But
first have to line them up appropriately.
Yes. And that's my point. And maybe I'm not explaining it right. It's just I don't want to see revenge and fast, because if you do things fast, that means the case isn't solid. And it's going to fall apart, and people can slip through the cracks of justice at that point. And am I wrong on that? I mean, it takes time to build a case.
It does. And depending on who's been contacted, who has what knowledge,
and how much obstructing is going on in the FBI,
you can be sure that you can sleep well at night knowing that there are any number of clenched sphincters all around the planet who are wondering just who is seeing what and where at what time, and when is it that my name gets exposed. There's one British member of the royal family, an older dude now, I can't think of his name, but he's already very concerned about this, and so he's not the only one. Who went to Epstein Island? Did you? Did me? Did any of us? No, we are of zero consequence to Epstein. We couldn't do anything for him. We're insufficiently wealthy. We don't have enough influence. We're not those people. So only the people who were of the higher social strata in Celebrityville or all around the planet in terms of judges and politicians, people elected, unelected, appointed in high places who could do something for Epstein, whom he shot and caught on video, tens and tens of thousands of hours on video. You can be sure that he didn't become a multimillionaire. He may have been a billionaire. I'm not sure. I can't be absolutely certain of that. But a lot of that is quid pro quo. I like Ukraine and Russia and Biden, where Biden essentially said, you get the prosecutors off of my son and we'll release the money. That wasn't of any kind of import. No one made a case about that. That's infinitely worse than most anything and everything that Trump did, upon which he was prosecuted successfully, unsuccessfully, impeached successfully, unsuccessfully. And that's on video. Imagine the temerity of people who tell you that's not what you're seeing and that's not what it means. Don't trust your damn lying eyes. If that's in public, if I can go to the internet and pull that up in 5 seconds at my age, imagine the things that are buried and semi-buried, all the secrets that are just waiting to be unearthed from the people, not from you and me, not from the proles, not from the serfs, not from the groundlings, but from people who could actually do something for Epstein. We weren't targeted. They were targeted.
Exactly.
And that's why they have the most to lose.
All right. We got like 10 minutes left, and there's one other thing I want to bring up.
Sir, yes, sir.
There were several things I wanted to bring up, but it looks like only going to get to one more. And that's this U.S.-China trade negotiation. I've been seeing Swallow-All and a couple other damn Democrats. Oh, look at that. Trump folded. We didn't get shit. Everything I'm reading, we got a lot. And we got a fair deal finally going through. And someone put up there, there's 3 major concessions the media isn't reporting. For number one, it's a 90-day agreement right now that they're going to work on some more. We had gotten up to 125% on the tariff side, and it's now going to go down to 10%. China had a 34% rate tariffs on us, and now it's going to go down to 10%. And not only that, it opens the door to China now, because most of the products that we make were banned from being imported into China. Well, this new deal allows us to start importing into China. How is that folding to China?
See, the thing I think we have to realize, although persons like yourself and me and the folks at SHR and whatnot, we know how this thing works. Tariffs are not an end in and of itself. Now, they have been tariffs against the United States, and no one up to Trump has made or paid any mind or attention to it. That was simply assumptive in terms of, well, that's how things get done. What occurred here is, for a moment, China blinked. Now, China itself, if I always recommend this, there's a gentleman that if I want to find out what's happening with China, my first source is Gordon Chang, who has lived there and has a great amount of insight in terms of how China functions, how Xi functions, how the communist Chinese function. He's in and of himself, he's a whip smart kind of guy. And China aside, if he were focusing on, I don't know, nuclear reactors, he'd be an expert on nuclear reactors. That said, he happens to be a Chinese guy, has been to China, has lived in China, and knows a great deal about how things function. When he says that Xi Jinping blinked and that this is a stepping stone, I believe him. So people make the mistake of thinking that the tariffs that are occurring, they'll go here and then that's it. And then we have to throttle Trump. No, this is a work in progress. It will always be a work in progress. Tariffs are a tool. We've been taking it up the bunghole for quite too long from all of these other countries where the people running this nation have simply given up, shrugged their shoulders, and said something similar to, well, I guess that's the way. No, that's not the way it is. So the thing that I'm looking at right here, U.S.-China temporary truce, 145% original tariff on Chinese goods, down to, as you indicate, 30% updated tariff on China goods, 125% original tariff on U.S. goods from China, updated tariffs on U.S. goods by China, 10%. But you have to, I don't know, I can't understand why people don't grok the concept that Trump made money on the fact that he is the ultimate negotiator.
Yeah.
And until something is signed, and even then occasionally afterwards, depending on where these things go.
Look what China admitted in these negotiations, that the agreements that were made with the Trump administration before, that when Biden got in office, that he was going to be weak and he wouldn't enforce them. So they didn't pay attention to any of the agreements that were made because they knew Biden wouldn't do nothing.
Why would you? That you could say that of Ukraine, you could say that of Iran, particularly Iran, but this is not where things will stay. It's 90 days. Now, today, the stock market went up to the point where it was right around just before January 20th. Oh, Trump is going to tank everything. Well, no. The stock market, as anybody knows, I'm heavily invested in the stock market. It goes up, it goes down. You lose some buckage. You gain
that
some
only happens under
buckage.
Trump. The up and down, according to Eric Swallow.
Yeah. Well,
it only goes up and down with him, and he does it on purpose.
Yeah. Bang, 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 bang.
How you have that man out as one of your mouthpieces? If I was Democrat Party, I'd be shut your mouth, go back in the corner, and just wait to your retirement. Just shut up.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
No.
You have to look at who the Democrats are representing, and they are a strange and bizarre and unusual. They're holding to a greatly weird dichotomy like China is. What people aren't saying about China are the things that people aren't saying about Democrats. And that's China is in the throes of a terrible economy right now. China is shuttering factories. China is losing workers. They are losing trade. People in China are losing money. The amount of cash that they have that's discretionary has all but vanished. That's immense pressure on Xi Jinping. However, he has a card that he can play that no one else does. That's called the dictatorship card. Now, people say that Trump is a dictator. Under 45, you show me the diktat that occurred under Trump, when anything and everything that he did, and certainly now under 47, everything is opposed. Now, I never said that I was in love with Trump. Some other people here and some other people other places have said something similar to, instead of all these EOs, I wish that someone had gotten Congress and wrapped them around a whole bunch of big, beautiful bills that once we got in and took power, we would have used Congress to implement this stuff. Because the biggest casualty of an EO is the EO itself. And I'm afraid that, Biden has, and Obama had. Trump, not so much under 45, but certainly true under 47. Those who live by the EO can die by the EO. Now, it's a good temporary placeholder during an administration. But let's say, for example, that a wildly leftist, let's say this country is so fucking stupid that it elects shoulder pimple president for 2028. You can be guaranteed every EO crafted and signed by Trump will be overturned in a day.
Yep. And
that's why I say when you live by EOs, you die by EOs.
Yep.
Also the corollary to that is, perhaps the Republicans themselves are at fault, or perhaps the people that were beginning to say, let's shove a whole bunch of bills out and let's not worry about EOs so much, had a fairly good idea that a certain percentile of the Republicans would not go along with that because they were against Trump. So he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't.
One of the problems we're having and why he has to act on EO so much right now is the Senate. How many bills have been blocked by the Senate? Because the Democrats are just being obstructionists. No matter what gets brought forth, they're out there blocking it. They don't want it passed. If it is going to do good for the country and it's going to do good for Trump, they're going to block it. They don't care. They don't care how bad it will hurt this country as long as it makes Trump look bad. And in the long run, people are waking up and not listening to mainstream media as much as they used to. And they're seeing that the Democrat Party for what it is. And with that, it's that time, BZ, already.
Time for tata. Time
Yes.
hasta la bye-bye.
So would you do me the honor in telling everybody where they can find you? And
Oh my. Well, folks, I am BZ, otherwise known as the Bloviating Zeppelin. And you can find me on my show, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show, on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights. And they begin at 8 p.m. Pacific. And let's see, that would be 10 p.m. Central. I had to think about that. And 11 p.m. Eastern. And my show tomorrow is one that everybody should avoid. Nobody should go to it. I don't recommend it at all, because tomorrow night I'm going to tell everyone about how Democrats are racists, period. And a truly disproportional number of blacks who are Democrats, they likewise are racist. So if you don't want to hear, obviously, a white racist talk about black racism and how Democrats themselves are racist, make sure that you completely avoid my show tomorrow night. I'll probably be talking only to myself and showing videos and linked with articles illustrating my precise point.
I'll be there. You won't be alone. And we have Edge of Liberty in an hour from now.
Yes.
Sean will be on in an hour with Edge of Liberty. And of course, this one I'm going to mess up, so I'm going to need your help. That's why I didn't have you leave yet. Earl's show.
Mission Ready Men. Earl Big E Jackson of Mission Ready Men. He too is on Tuesday and Thursday nights. Except that, Earl, I'm grabbing the football for you and I'm running down the greens for you, man. So Earl is on, as opposed to us who are on late at night. Earl is on earlier in the morning. So Earl's show, Mission Ready Men, 1 hour, great show, starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern, for those of you who happen to be on the right part of the coast. Not right, but proper, but right. That's just if you look at the United States, it just happens to be over on the right-hand side of the coast. And that's how it goes.
But it is the right coast compared to the left coast.
Earl, I love you, man.
And I thank you for being here today, BZ. It's always an enjoyment to have you here, and you're welcome anytime. Just
thank
as
you, sir.
The other two gentlemen from SHR, more than welcome anytime. But don't forget, an hour from now,
not so much.
Yeah, Sean, and it's that Massachusetts thing.
Massals.
So
I didn't say that.
Don't forget, an hour from now, a little bit under an hour now. It will be Edge of Liberty with Sackhead Sean.
First you have Liberty, okay? And Liberty, you're on this little flat plateau right there, and you're looking for Liberty. Do. And look at the edge of my hand right there. That right there, that's where Liberty lives. That is the edge of Liberty. Be there.
Oh, everybody, I'll see you Friday, 9 p.m. Till then, have a great week.